Next, we're going to jump into Pool C, which is happening at Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. And here's where it starts to get really good, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of permutations that can happen across this pool and some really top teams that can potentially get upsetted here. We're looking at the 5 teams going in odds order. USA, Team USA playing in Phoenix. They're at a -400 to win this pool, followed by Team Mexico, which is going to be really interesting to see how the Phoenix crowd responds to Team Mexico. And I'll talk a little bit about that a bit later. They're listed at +450. Then we have another big drop off. Team Colombia +2200 to win the pool. Team Canada +2200 to win the pool. And Team Great Britain +10,000 to win this pool. I think we'll start there. This Great Britain team, in theory, have some potential, but in practice, they just really don't have any major league talent. There is Trace Thompson, the Dodgers outfielder, who is also brother of Klay Thompson of the NBA, who is on this team. He'll be a major league bat that they have there, but Trace Thompson is a platoon replacement, a little above replacement level player for the Dodgers. He is supplemented by Harry Ford. He was picked 12 in the 2021 draft. He is a catcher in the Mariners system. Harry Ford, I saw some qualifying. He put up some good at-bats against these European teams. I don't think he's any match for the talent of the other teams in this division, but he'll be one of their best players, and we'll see if that helps his stock at all with the Mariners, because he is a top prospect. Great Britain could have had players like Jazz Chisholm of the Bahamas and any of the British Virgin Islands, but there's not a big baseball playing contingent even in these countries. Jazz had floated the idea of playing for Team Great Britain, but especially with his transition to center field this year, spring training will be useful for him establishing himself as a major league ready center fielder. Next, I'm going to jump to Team Colombia. And Team Colombia is really interesting. They're led by the likes of Julio Teheran in their pitching rotation. They have Jorge Alfaro and Elias Diaz at catcher. Gio Urshela is playing the infield. Harold Ramirez, Oscar Mercado, Jesus Mariaga. All of these are major league names. But looking at the rest of this group, I don't think they match up very well. They have a few guys in their pitching rotation that have had some stints in Major League Baseball, including Guillermo Zuniga in the Cardinals system, or he has been in the Cardinals system the last time I saw him play. Looking at a lot of these players, there's Jonathan Solano as well for the Giants, who'll probably be playing some infield along with Dilson Herrera and Gio Urshela. Looking at their team, it's looking like Gio Urshela or Oscar Mercado are among their best players. And I don't think that's good enough for the level of this group. A lot of people might be high in Colombia. I think that's overrating some of their past players, some of their top level talent. I don't think they have the pitching to win at least 3 games, which is what I think you'll need to get out of this group. You're going to have to win 3 games between Great Britain, USA, Mexico, and Canada. I don't see that happening for Team Colombia. I think they beat Great Britain pretty easily. I think it'll be a fight against Team Canada. Maybe they have a chance against Team USA or Mexico, but they're going to have to really impress me. And this roster doesn't really do that for me. And pretty much everyone who can represent Colombia is with them, which is a good thing. They don't have any significant omissions for their team. But next, I'm going to get into Team Canada. Team Canada are really interesting. They have a lot of born and raised Canadians. Looking at this roster, John Axford is playing for Team Canada. He is going to be one of the arms that they have. Who else do we have? Cal Quantrill is probably going to be their premier starting pitcher. But also looking at this team, Bo Naylor, who is a top prospect in the Cleveland Guardians organization, he's probably going to be their starting catcher. Looking at their infield, Freddie Freeman is playing for Team Canada. He has Canadian heritage, spent some time in Canada. Abraham Toro, Tyler O'Neill is playing as well in the outfield. As opposed to Team Colombia, these are some top players, even though they don't have a ton of MLB talent. I would say they're less than 40% MLB talent. The players that they have are good are good. Freddie Freeman, we've seen, can carry teams with his bat. You have Cal Quantrill on a good day against some of these guys. Put together some of the arms in the bullpen. Bo Naylor can go off. Abraham Toro can go off, especially against these Colombian and British pitchers. Um, I think Canada have a chance to compete for second to get out of this group. I think it'll be a contentious game with the US. I think like the US can't take this for granted. Neither can Mexico. I think the game of the tournament for them really is going to be against Colombia. I think Canada finished third. And then I get into the top two teams. First, I'm going to jump to Team USA. And boy, is this a juggernaut of a team for Team USA. In previous tournaments, USA in theory should always win. But at the Olympics, we never send our best players. I say we, as an American, I'm wearing my USA jersey. Obviously, I'm rooting for Team USA in this competition. In previous World Baseball Classics, we've had a lot of glaring omissions. The best players usually weren't going. Mike Trout wasn't going, Bryce Harper wasn't going, but we still had MLB All-Star teams. And we won finally in 2017 with a team that I think didn't even represent the best talent in Major League Baseball from an American heritage standpoint. But this team takes it to a different level. Starting with the pitching, the starting pitching is probably our weakest area. How about Brady Singer, Merrill Kelly, Adam Wainwright, Lance Lynn, and Miles Michaelis? That is 5 pretty solid, potentially all-star level starting pitchers alone. Adam Wainwright, I think, is going to get the pill in game 1 of this World Baseball Classic. And look down the bullpen. I think this bullpen really sets the United States apart from some of these top teams that can potentially be their best catalyst. We've seen already in the WBC how the scoring goes up later in the games when you're getting to your 4th, 5th choice pitchers on these teams that aren't as deep. How about Daniel Bard, David Bednar, Kyle Freeland, Kendall Graveman, skipping a few, Adam Ottavino, Nick Martinez, Ryan Presley, Brooks Raley, Devin Williams. That is about as lethal of a bullpen and a shutdown of a bullpen as you can get. And that's not even getting to the American position players who are going to put up numbers at the plate. They have 2 of the best offensive catchers, 2 of the best catchers, period, in all of baseball. I would say 2 of the top 3, if not the top 2. JT Realmuto is probably going to be the starter at catcher, followed by Will Smith, who is going to get a bunch of DH time, I would imagine. And of course, our guy, Kyle Higashioka, is also in that lineup. He is going to be the 3rd string catcher. He's there for the ride. He's there for vibes. Who doesn't love Higgy? In the infield, Nolan Arenado, Trey Turner, Tim Anderson, a backup shortstop. Jeff McNeil, your likely second baseman, backed up Bobby Witt Jr. Elite speed, elite hit tool off the bench. Then you have Paul Goldschmidt, who will be playing first base. Pete Alonso will probably be DHing or get a lot of DH time, backup first base time. But that is the plan right now, to have Arenado at 3rd, Trey Turner at short, Jeff McNeil at 2nd, and goalie at 1st per manager Mark DeRosa. And in the outfield, this is as good of an outfield as you're ever going to get. Left field, Kyle Tucker. Center field, Mike Trout. Right field, Mookie Betts. This is one of the best outfields that I've ever seen take the field at one time for a team that's actually trying to win, not in an all-star game scenario. And even this in an all-star game would be like, wow, this is really cool. Casually have Kyle Schwarber and Cedric Mullins both on the bench. Kyle Schwarber against right-handed pitching is probably going to DH per manager Mark DeRosa. Pete Alonso might get some lefty platoon time against DHs, maybe even Will Smith, who smashes lefties. This is a really good team. Looking at previous teams and up against their competition, I think the USA have a legitimate shot to win this tournament, and they should win the pool. They're favorites to win the pool at a -400. But now we get to Team Mexico. And Team Mexico has given the USA problems in the past. This pool is located in Phoenix. USA versus Mexico is going to be in the heart of Arizona, where a lot of Mexican immigrants live. Last time USA played Mexico, it was 70% in favor of Team Mexico in terms of attendance, in terms of noise. So they're going to have a de facto home field advantage against all of these teams, against Canada, definitely, Great Britain, Colombia. These Mexican fans are going to show out for their team. And unlike last time, Mexico are 2-0 against the USA, and they've given the USA issues. Unlike last time, they really have a talented roster behind them. How about some of these top names? First, Julio Urias of the Dodgers, ace. If there's anyone who's adapted to funky tournament style baseball, it's Julio Urias, who helped the Dodgers as a starter, as a reliever in the 2020 World Series win in that COVID shortened, COVID adapted playoff format in that World Series. They have Urquidy, Taiwan Walker, Luis Sessa also as a perfect like middle relief option that you're going to need in these games. Luis Sessa also came up in the Yankee system. He can give you some starting innings. Oliver Perez, also longtime MLB player. He's going to give you some starting innings. Taiwan Walker, super interesting how he's playing for Team Mexico, but he'll be one of their starters. And then the back end of the bullpen, how about Giovanni Gallegos, Gerardo Reyes? These guys, Cesar Vargas, these are guys that can really throw gas, especially Gallegos. We'll see how that helps them later down the line. But even just their starting rotation alone, I think Mexico should win every game. Canada might be a fight, but I think Mexico should win every game. And then it's going to be that USA versus Mexico game where this group comes down to. In addition to their pitchers, this is really where it gets good. Austin Barnes of the Dodgers, backup catcher for the Dodgers, would start on most teams. He is catching for Team Mexico. In the infield, Jonathan Aranda, he's a pro level player. Joey Meneses playing for the Nationals. Isaac Paredes, Rowdy Tellez, Luis Urias. All of these guys are playing. They have MLB time. It's pretty solid infield. They have some high level potential. I know Paredes did not hit very well last year. Yankees fans, we saw that, but they'll be helped out by some of these outfield boppers. Randy Arozarena, born and raised Cuban, defected to Mexico and then to the United States after that. He is representing Team Mexico as a Mexican citizen, which he applied for and was approved for after he defected from Cuba, rather. Then we have Jarren Duran, Alek Thomas, top prospect in the Diamondback system. He's going to be playing a lot for the D-backs coming up these next few years. Alex Verdugo and Jose Cardona also on the bench. Another MLB level player. I think we're going to see Verdugo, Thomas, and Randy from right to left. Jarren Duran is not a bad option to have as a DH or as a platoon outfielder within there. I think 4 outfielders are going to play all the time. And then you'll have your Aranda, Meneses, Paredes, and Rowdy. I would think you'll see in their infield. This team with a good pitching performance, especially from Urias, who I think he is locked in to pitch against Team USA. I would run Taiwan Walker. I would run even Oliver Perez, Jose Urquidy against the other teams. I think Mexico have a good chance to win this group and shut down Team USA and give the Americans a wake-up call that I think they could use. I think Mexico win this group. If you're going to bet a longer odds to win groups, I know I've been going mostly chalk. I think Mexico 1, USA 2. I think Mexico goes 4-0. I think the US goes 3-1. I think Canada and Colombia go 2-2 respectively, and Great Britain is not going to win a game, in my opinion. So that puts Mexico as team number 1 from Pool C and the United States as team number 2.